It's Fiona Whitten from Oakville Crafts, and welcome to my Stamping and Creating with Fiona. So this morning I thought I would share a fun card with you, which I'm going to use the Awesome Otters stamp set. So if you haven't seen it, this is the stamp set. It's one of the free items you can get from Sale-A-Bration, so a £45 spend, and you can order this stamp set for free. So there are 3 very cute otters, a couple of sentiments and a birthday hat. Now I love otters, and especially like this little one here with the fish, and I thought, wouldn't it be great if we could get them to do some synchronized swimming? So that's what I am planning to do today, and I'm actually going to use my Stamparatus. Now, for those of you who don't know what this is, it's a really great and helpful stamping tool. We brought this out a few years ago, and I love mine. I mean, I don't use it all the time, I have to admit, but for things like this, it's like, oh yeah, it's so easy because you don't have to think about trying to line things up and everything. And there's all sorts of things, other things that you can do with it as well. So the Stamparatus, just so that if you don't know what it looks like this. So it comes with 2 clear plates like this. They're hinged and they sit in these grooves. So it means that you can put them in and you can move them around. So if you have like 3 or 4 step stamping and you need to make a lot of cards, then these are great, because effectively you could have 4 different stamps on here and get the same result every single time. It's also great that if you sometimes, like me, I don't always manage to get a clear imprint from my ink the first time round. It just means that because your stamp is on here, when you can just automatically come to restamp it and it will stamp in exactly the same place. So we have 2 plates. It also comes with 2 very strong magnets, and they sit underneath. And I would warn you now, do not let them get too close to each other, nor let them get close to something metal. I mean, something metal is good because you can actually, probably heard that, you can just put them somewhere, then you know that they're there and you don't lose them. But if you leave them too close together, they will jump together. And because of the type of magnet, sometimes they smash. So this is actually one of my replacements. But normally they sit in these grooves underneath your Stamparatus. The other thing the Stamparatus comes with is a foam mat. So you can actually use this for both photopolymer. So you would want to use the mat if you're using the clear photopolymer stamps, and you would want to remove it if you're using the red cling stamps. And then the other thing that you can get, and you'll find all of this on, I don't know, I've done my catalogue. Oh heck! I'll show. Oh, here we go. You'll find everything on the one page in the catalogue. So if you look on page 144, it tells you what the Stamparatus comes with. You can get replacement magnets. They come in a pack of 2, and then you can also get this small grid paper, and it's very handy. And it will sit on here, and it just means that your grid will not get dirty, and it's also good for measuring things. Now I was doing it that way. I haven't moved that, so I'm just going to show you how I achieved this. So as you can see on this one, I've already stamped 3 otters. So I have 2 going one way and the 3rd going the other way. And it's very simple. So first of all, you want to work out what size paper you're going to use. Now I've got a piece of the marvellous double-sided paper, which is another Sale-A-Bration item. And this time I'm actually going to use the more green of the 2. So this one is the blue, this one's the more green. Now I've already marked up here. So what you'd want to do is you want to place your paper that you want to stamp on onto your grid paper, and then I've marked the position of mine with a pencil, and you'll see why in a minute. Word of warning: if you're wanting to stamp right up at the very top, then do not put your paper right to the very top. The way the hinges work, sometimes there's just not quite enough give to get a clear image right close to there. So if you're looking to stamp right at the very top, I would suggest moving your paper down so that is slightly away from the hinge. And the other thing to note is that you don't have to use the magnets. They are good, it will hold the paper. You don't need to use both at the same time. And obviously where you put the magnet means that you won't necessarily get a good image there. So depending on where you're stamping on your paper, you may want to move your magnet about. So I've already put my stamp. So I decided that I wanted to put my first image here. So I placed it on the paper, picked it up. So all you need to do is simply put it on the paper, fold that down, and that will then pick up that image. So then we want to stamp. Now the other thing that's worth noting, and it's a useful tip, is that the ink pads just fit nicely underneath there. So that means that when you come to ink, you've got a firmer surface to ink your stamp. So I'm going to use my Stampin' blend, so I'm actually using Tuxedo Black ink here. So give it a good ink up. Make sure your hinge is right down. Fold it over and just give it a quick press. Now if this image is not as dark as you would like, simply re-ink. And again, fold over and press. See, now I've got a much darker image, and it has stamped directly onto itself, so I don't have any smudging or anything like that. Now my next otter I want to have down here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift my plate up. So I'm going to put it vertical and lift it straight out of the hinge. And then I'm going to move it down. I seem to remember 1, 3. Yes. So move it down 1, 2, 3, so that that first piece slots into the third one down. And then I'm going to do exactly the same again. I'm going to ink up. Now I know that my otters are directly in line with each other. And I'm going to do this again. I suspect that my Tuxedo Black needs to be re-inked. Like that. There we go. Okay, so now I have 2 otters in line. Now I want my third otter to be going the other way. So what I do then is I pick up my paper. Now I could just put it back in the same place. So I basically just turned it 180. And depending on the image, sometimes you can just play around. This doesn't actually work on here because you'll see that they will overlap. So what I actually did was I kind of worked out by eye how far down I needed to move my paper. And again, I made another mark so that when I come to repeat my card and make another one, that I know exactly where to place this. Let's ink up. And he should be going the other way, like so. So now I have my 3 otters all stamped on some coloured paper. So as I said, this is the Marvellous. I decided not to use that side because it's just a bit too green. The nice thing about the Stampin' blends is that you can actually colour over paper, and this will be fine because it's not too dark in places. That may have a bit of an issue, but we'll soon find out. Right, so I'm pretty much done with that stamping. So I'm just going to put this back in there like that. Close that up and put it somewhere where it's not going to fall off the table. When it comes to storage, I would say to you, first off, leave one of the plates in the hinge, but do not put this second one in and try and fold it down. You will end up forcing the plate down. It could end up damaging the hinges. Just place it like that on top, and then you can put it away somewhere. So I'm just going to move it out the way like that. I don't need that ink pad anymore. So I now have 3 otters, which I have stamped, and I'm going to colour them. So I have my, as I said, my Stampin' blends. Now this one here I stamped and then I coloured using the Crumb Cake Dark and Light, and then this one is believe it or not, Crumb Cake Dark, and then the middle portion is one of the new natural tones. So I don't know if you've heard or seen Stampin' Up are bringing out some new natural tone Stampin' blends. They're available come 1st of February. So I've got all mine. So although they're skin tones, there's no reason why you can't use them for other things such as fur and other bits and pieces, trees. Just because they're called skin tones doesn't mean that they are solely for that purpose. So I'm going to use this new skin tone. So this is skin tone 800. They don't have names. They've all got numbers. They come in pairs, but not like unlike these where you get a light and a dark. So here I have smoky slate, light and dark. Although they come in pairs, they're actually completely separate, different colours. Excuse me. So this is 800, and I'm just going to use this to colour the middle of his pelt. You know what, I might actually use the thicker end. It'll be a lot quicker. So if it doesn't give you the coverage that you want, then obviously you can change it out. You can add a different colour on top. I don't want to colour his nose. I want to leave the fish be a different colour. Let's see. Not sure about that. I might need to go slightly. What's this one? See how this makes an effect. Make it slightly darker so it will hide more of the green. And then I want to colour the fish. I'm going to use the light smoky slate. Of course, you have to be careful because the Stampin' blends will bleed, more so on the paper because it's thinner. So that's the fish. Do his nose. Do that smoky slate as well. Well, it does look almost black. And then I'm going to use, so this is the light Crumb Cake. Amazingly, compared to that, does not look that light. It's funny how the colours look totally different on different cardstock and paper and things. Now, I would normally use the brush end because it's quicker, but I been using these Stampin' blends so much that the other end's not working so good. Don't want to colour his eyes. Figure out what I'm going to do with his eyes in a minute. So that's one otter. Now am I going to do all three the same? I think I might, just for the sake of quickness. So the Stamparatus is, as I said, it's in the annual catalogue, and it's £46. So that means if you buy one during Sale-A-Bration, you can actually order this Awesome Otters stamp set or any of the other items. Which is good. You've got lots to choose from. There's not just the otters. There's well, obviously there's the marvellous paper, which is what I've used. There are other stamp sets, and there's other paper. So lots to choose from this year. Sale-A-Bration ends on the 28th of February. Just so you know, I'm going to do this one as well. But for those of you who find it hard to get a clean stamped image, because you, some people, and I know I was like that when I first started, I had a tendency to, when I stamped, I kind of rocked a bit rather than just going straight up and down. The Stamparatus actually gives you a good image the whole time, unless of course that you have made a bit of a inky mess onto your stamp, but normally if you get something slightly around the edges, and if you're stamping by hand and you happen to clip the edge on your paper, then you'll end up with a line. That doesn't happen because the Stamparatus actually controls the fact that it just goes straight up and straight down. Right, that's them. Let's do the middle one. Colour him a bit. Mustn't forget that tiny little bit between the fish and the arm. I missed that off the other day, and I kept looking at it thinking, what's going on here? It doesn't look right. And then I realised it was just a tiny little patch that I had missed. And it's like one of those things that once you see it, it's like, oh, it's really annoying. You keep looking back to that rather than to the rest of it. Might have to go back. Actually, he's actually quite cute because it does kind of give him a bit of a different markings on his belly. Maybe not necessarily green, but tone them down a bit. Well, I don't want to put so much on that the all starts bleeding. Right, I'm going to do the fish, so we're going to do him. Him. Use the darker one for the nose. Like that. Now what we're going to do for his eyes, I think I actually might just use some soft succulent. There we go. So, okay, so now we have our otters all coloured. And I guess we need to finish off the card. So I'm just going to put my blends out the way. brought a large number of blue and green cardstock over. So see, that's mint macaron, that's soft succulent. Actually, I think soft succulent might work. Ooh, last sheet. It's all right, I do have some more, thank goodness. Now, the question is, do I want to make it as a landscape card or a portrait card? I think I'm just going to do this one as portrait, and when I finish off the other one I'll do that as a landscape, and then you can see the difference. So I just need to cut my cardstock in half. Don't need to cut that in half though. So I'm going to cut that up, well, 14.9 straight down the middle basically of the A4, and I'm going to turn it and I'm going to score it using my paper trimmer at 10.5. So that's to create my card base. So he's going to go on here like that, like so. Let's get some glue. I could pop it up on dimensionals, but I'm not going to. And that's what the reverse side looks like. So it's actually almost as good. It looks like they're swimming underwater on that. So that's the reverse side of the paper. And you can see why when you're doing envelopes, you don't want to be doing it directly on the, well, you can do it on the front of the envelope, but you need to put something on the inside so that it doesn't bleed through to the back of the envelope. That's actually quite sweet. A happy accident. I'm going to put that on there, like so. Now I need to do something in the middle, so I'm going to cut some cardstock quickly to go in the middle. And I only need 1/4 of a sheet of basic white. So what I always do is I cut it in half first, so that I know that I've always got a whole half a sheet, and then I will cut this in half again, so then I know I've always got 1/4 of a piece. And I'm just going to cut this down by taking off 1/2 centimetre on both parts, so it goes down to 10 by 14.4. So that's that. So that's going to go on the inside. Now I could decorate this with another otter, or with paper, or just a stamp set. And I think actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to use one of the other otters, and I'm just going to stamp him. So I'll need a block for that. So I'm going to put him on there. Now the thing is with this is that if you're going to stamp and colour, you want to do that before you've put the paper in. So I'm not going to do the whole of the otter. I'm going to be a little bit cheeky. And actually I'm going to be even cheekier because I'm going to use that grid paper from in here. Because then I stand a chance of actually keeping this grid paper clean for once. So the small grid paper makes really good scratch paper as well, once you've used it quite a few times. So ink of that. So if I made a boo-boo now and didn't stamp this properly, I'm kind of stuck, because and this is what I mean about going straight up and straight down. So I've got a little mark on that, so that must have been somewhere on my stamp, but I'm going to erase that in a minute. So I'm going to use the same colours as I did a minute ago. Now this is going to colour differently than the one that's is on the card front, because this one I'm stamped directly onto basic white. The blends are really designed to go on thick thick basic white. Now that is exactly the same colour as the one that I used on the front there. Dark crumb cake. Now he hasn't got a fish, so I don't have to worry about that. She looks more like a hamster. These colourings, that's quite funny. I don't think they're part of the same family. Otters are part of the weasel family, I believe. They're the largest ones in the weasel family. Right, that's that. And I need some smoky slate to make sure I've got the right one, so that can be a dark. And some sort of succulent for his eye. Now, I do have a sand eraser, which is good for lifting the occasional ink splot, but I don't know where it is. I will attempt to find that in a minute, and I will sort out that mark. And then the other question is, are we going to put a sentiment on it? So I'll stick him on the inside, like so. That's that. Now, I'm going to use some Wink of Stella. No, actually. And I'm going to colour the fish. So I'm going to give them a bit of a sparkle. Make them look like they've just, well, so the scales are all sparkling. I'm going to just come out of the water. Nose, so it can be a bit sparkly. Now, I don't very often put sentiments on my card fronts, so, and I'm not sure that it actually needs one. So that would work that way as well, but like I said, I've done it as a landscape, because otherwise you've got him coming out from the side, which also works, so that's all right. Right, okay, so that is my card. So we have that one, and then as I said, I will finish this one off and make it a landscape card. So I hope you've had fun watching that and that you want to give it a go. If you would like to purchase a Stamparatus and get this stamp set for free, then either let me know and I can put in the order for you, or you can go on to my online store, which you will find if you go to oakfieldcrafts.com and then click at the top where it says shop now, and then you can order the Stamparatus and get the stamp set for free. Any questions, obviously leave a comment, because I can't actually see them at the moment. I am in the process of, well, we are in the process, I should say, the whole of this little area, and getting some super fast internet. Hooray! So that's coming soon, probably the second week of February, and that means then I will be able to do a lot more when it comes to Facebook Lives and things. I'll actually be able to see comments live. And believe it or not, I'm not sure if it's a good thing or not, you'll be able to see me too. Anyway, okay, so thank you for joining me today. I hope you've had fun, and I will see you soon. Take care.